So today we're going to be focusing on this very amazing and very unique plant right here, known as the Stapelia gigantea, also known as the Zulu giant, the carrion flower, the giant toad flower, and also the starfish flower. And we are really going to be focusing on the uniqueness and the oddity of this plant, and we're going to be sharing with you some information and also some strange and fun facts about this plant that you guys might not have known. Dun 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 dun. Okay, so let's go ahead and properly introduce the Stapelia gigantea, which is native to South Africa. Now, this is a succulent plant, so indeed it can appreciate succulent growing conditions. Now, although this plant right here is very succulent and definitely has the appearance and also the growth habit of a cacti, it is very strange to know that this, in fact, is a part of the milkweed family. What a very strange fact indeed. As you can see, this plant right here has a very erect way of growing, reaching up to the sky, and even when it scrambles forth, you will find that they will still continue to grow upwards. This plant also has a habit of scrambling to the side and can grow at about 2 feet wide to the side, as a matter of fact. So this can become such a massive clump of this Stapelia gigantea. And if we take a close look, you will see that this plant does grow in somewhat of segments. So I will say that it is very easy to break off. So if you do have this in a basket, I would not recommend moving this about to and fro, because this can definitely break off into pieces. But with that in mind also, this can actually be propagated very easily as well by breaking apart those segmented pieces. And then of course letting the wound dry out a bit and then simply potting them up. Okay, so let's go ahead and focus on the highlight of this plant, which of course is the spectacular and very unusual bloom. Now, as I did state, this is considered to be the starfish flower, and as you can see, it definitely has a defined shape of a star and also resembles and mimics a starfish all the way down to the patterns that it has. Definitely very unique and very odd looking bloom, and I do have to say gigantea is appropriate for its name, because take a look at that right here. Look how huge these blooms are. These blooms right here indeed are so ginormous, and they can measure up to 10 to 16 inches in diameter, and is why this is considered to have one of the largest blooms in the plant kingdom, and that is why this plant is so spectacular and so amazing. And if we take a closer look at the bloom right here, it will definitely reveal just how odd this flower is. Now, the petals itself definitely has a very thick, very fleshy, waxy type of feel to the actual star shape. And then if we take a very close look, you will definitely see those patterns of those squiggly lines and stripings in there. And there are very fine hairs within this star as well. And alongside of it, if we take a look, you will notice that hair and that fuzz on there as well. And as I feel onto the petals of this, I can literally feel the lines in here. So those lines actually protrude outwards from the blooms as well. Definitely a whole lot of texture and feel to this bloom. And if we take a look right here into the center, you will definitely see those patterns and how they just definitely give this plant such a beautiful and very unique appearance. Now, as remarkable and as amazing as these blooms look, there is one negative fact about this unique bloom right here. And if we take a look, this will be a clue to what standoff trait this has. And when I say standoff, I mean you definitely want to stand away and off from this plant when you do catch a whiff of it. Yes, this bloom right here has quite an atrocious scent. It will send you aback when you smell it. This has the scent of rotting flesh, if that tells you anything. And the reason why it has such a stinky, very grotesque scent is for the fact that its natural pollinators are flies. As you can see right here, flies are just so attracted. These blooms right here are just so irresistible to these flies, unfortunately. So that is one of the negative aspects about this plant. But I do have to tell you, if you can stomach the stench, I mean, it is well worth having these amazing plants right here. This is one of the most unique, most odd, and in a unique way, one of the most beautiful looking blooms I have ever seen. Now, another unfortunate fact about this little stinker right here is the fact that this flower will not last so long. As a matter of fact, it will only last a couple of days and no longer than a week. So you definitely have to appreciate and enjoy the blooms while they last. But I will have to say one good point about these blooms: even though they don't last very long, this plant does have the potential of blooming sporadically throughout the year, even though it does state that this plant normally blooms in the autumn season when the weather starts cooling down. Well, here in Florida, we are in the middle of summer. We are in the middle of the hottest days of the year, and as you can see, this still does continue to bloom. So again, you do have the potential of having this bloom sporadically throughout the year. And just as a side note, in case you are thinking about getting one of these spectacular plants, again, this is a succulent plant loving succulent growing conditions. This can tolerate full sun to dappled sun or dappled light, and definitely likes fast draining soil. So whatever you do with your succulents, you can also do for the care of this plant as well. Very easy to grow, very easy to propagate, can become an aggressive plant, and definitely can grow in such a mass. Now, like any succulent, this plant actually can tolerate drought conditions and actually likes to stay more on the drier side. Overwatering or excessive amount of watering can actually lead to rotting issues. This plant will only need to be watered once or twice a week depending on your conditions, and also should only be watered when the media actually becomes dry. And there you have it, folks. I do thank you guys so much for tuning in to yet another episode of my orchid adventures, and I do hope that you have learned something today about this spectacular plant, and I hope you guys also like this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, like, share, and also subscribe. And if you guys have not yet followed me on my Instagram and also on Facebook, you can do that by joining me under my orchid adventures. I thank you guys so much, and as you guys already know, I do truly love and appreciate each and every one of you guys all. I will see you guys later, and I'll also grow with you guys later as well. Bye bye for now. Mwah.